Hi guys, welcome back to Tools and Tech, Best of the Rest. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the new version Hypertough Mid-Torque Impact. As you can see, it's a relatively average size mid-torque, to say the least. Somewhere in between the new compacts and the average size of a high torque. I mean, for example, the actual Hypertough mid-torque, high torque, is right here. For another example, something that more people have probably seen anyway, that's the size of the Bauer high torque from Harbor Freight. Now, myself personally, I don't get a lot of use out of mid-torque guns. Pretty much anything that I think anyone really in the automotive field would use a mid-torque for, they would probably just use a high torque for. I'm not saying that they're useless, because they're certainly not. There are plenty of applications, all the way from tires to maybe light suspension work. I don't think I would trust this thing to take control arms off of anything larger than an F-150 or so. However, it is a decent little gun. Now, in the range of mid-torques, it does seem a bit underpowered to me. The motor itself is a little more undersized than the high torque. I've used a few mid-torques over the years for random miscellaneous things, and this one will get a lot done. The guys over at Torque Test Channel actually put it on their dyno and were able to get over 400 foot-pounds out of it, which is quite impressive. It does have a somewhat irritating wind-up, but when it hits full power, and it'll do everything you ask of it, at least up to about 400 foot-pounds. If you're going to do basic stuff, or if you're just a tire guy and you never have to break anything with more than 200 foot-pounds worth of torque, hey, this thing would probably be an excellent buy. It's only $89 right now. I'm sorry, not $89, $79. As of the making of this video anyway. And for $79 as a kit, I mean, kind of like the high torque, it's almost unbeatable in a price range. This one does have a few things that irk me. The light is practically useless. It doesn't put off enough light to say that it has one at all. And it's kind of in the range of just big enough not to fit in a bunch of spaces, and at the same time not small enough to be considered any type of compact, certainly. I mean, it's a mid-torque gun, you know. If you have a specific application for a mid-torque gun, I definitely don't see enough wrong with it to deter you against buying it. I mean, like I said, it does have some things that kind of irritate me personally, but all the settings work. All the battery is the same as the high torque. The 4 amp hour battery holds to capacity. It's probably not the most high output. It has the same generic cells as the high torque. But if you have the pair, you also add the extra capacity of having one battery on the charger and one in whichever tool you choose to use most often. Especially when the battery itself is $60, you're only paying an extra $20 for the mid-torque impact. So, with that being said, I mean, it gets a seal of approval. Not quite as enthusiastic about this one as I am about the high torque. I think the high torque is going to be a real win for these guys. Speaking of the high torque, I wasn't, should I say, satisfied with just the review. I am actually in the process of building a small torque test rig. By all means, nothing extravagant, but to be able to put these things to the test. I went out this morning, picked up a pull bar, picked up the 750 foot-pound torque gauge. That way we can at least put them up to high enough specs to be able to show you what they can actually do. At least the ones that don't already have reviews out there giving you their torque ratings. But with that being said, like I said, I think the little gun's a good buy. And anybody who's on the fence about it or has a specific application for it should definitely pick it up. As soon as I get the torque test set up and welded in place, because I've tried using backup bolts and that just doesn't seem to be enough to hold on to a 400 plus foot-pound torque rating. So as soon as I get a welder that's able to go ahead and weld those up for me, we'll get to testing some torque and see where we go from there. As a side note, these Hypertough Made in USA pull bars, anybody who needs a good pry bar, that's 36 inches for $24.99. I mean, I grant Hypertough doesn't have the best excuse me, doesn't have the best relationship out there in the tool market, and they certainly don't have the best reputation either, but they're starting to get some things on the shelf that are certainly worth looking into. If you need a pull bar for popping out CV axles or pulling out suspension pieces, $24.95 as of the making of the video. It's definitely worth a grab. That's another one of those grab it nows. But as we try to get into making a few more videos, I'm gonna hopefully start doing torque test and breakdowns. Haven't quite figured out if I'm gonna do it all in one video, if we're gonna do several smaller videos, but I'm learning, guys. Give me a little bit. I'm gonna get there. I appreciate you watching. Hope to catch you next time. Bye-bye.